Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Queen's Generational Wellness Podcast. I want to thank you guys for listening and sharing. I see y'all out there sharing stuff. So I want to thank you guys. Right now, I have with me Yannae. He is a life coach. And how is your day going today?
My day is going very well. Very well. You probably hear my daughter going crazy in the background.
That's all right.
Playing Roblox. No, my day's going great. Thank you. How's your day?
My day is going great as well. You don't hear mine because they with my cousin.
Oh.
I got the same thing, like same noise.
I would have gone in deep. I always find it. I find like the question, especially if it's my partner, because sometimes like if I'm like, "Hey, how was your day?" and like 3 days in a row, we pretty much have the same 5-minute. And I don't have a partner, but if I did, when I did, you got the same 5-10 minute conversation. Oh, I did this, then I did that, and it's like, let's go deeper, right? So it's like, how did you feel today?
Right.
How did you feel today? Now we could get somewhere with that.
Right. That's a good question because people don't do it. You're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah. How did you feel today?
How I felt today, I guess I was a little aggravated today. I will say that I was a little aggravated today. Like my kids they're with my cousin now getting their hair done, and they didn't have their hair the way I wanted it. So it took longer. And, my cousin, I'm going to say, I don't really say this, but she's a beast. So I'm like, you got to have your hair ready. And when one of my kids took off her bonnet, I was like, no. No. I was like, no, this is not it. And my cousin looked at my face and she was like, I'll do it.
Full transparency. And this is where I definitely have fell short as a father. My daughter, I still cannot really I can't do my daughter's hair, period. I'm not even saying I can't really, like we get her hair braided or her hair done. Yeah. Her mother handles that. But when she comes to me, if she has a bun when she comes to me, I will do my best to keep it tight, but I just have not got down the braiding and I should have. I know so many fathers that do, but.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it comes naturally to people and sometimes it don't. But the way I braid their hair and the way my cousin does hair, totally two different things. Yeah. She's getting it done like that.
Right.
They're giving me a hard time. They want to move. They got to use the bathroom every 5 seconds. I'm like, look, I'd rather just pay for it to get done. Call it a day.
So some of the aggravation was more for your children not being ready to get their hair done.
Yeah, that was some of the aggravation, yeah.
It's retrograde. I had a little aggravation too. I know that it was anxiousness and aggravation. Yeah. And it's coming from, I know it's retrograde. I don't know if people believe in that stuff. I do believe in the energy and the transits and all that with astrology and like a lot of tech issues with Zoom, issues with the bank. And it's just like, and then you got things to do. So, yeah.
I hear you. So let's talk about your program.
Yeah.
Oh, something fell.
Oh, what about it?
When we talk, I mainly wanted to have you on here because I needed a male's perspective because, I'm in a bunch of groups with a bunch of ladies. I love my ladies, love my sister coaches, but I needed a male perspective, because, we're all human, but as men and women, we are different. And I know it has to be a difference coaching men than it is coaching women.
It is. It is, and it's not. Right? So it is different in a sense where with women, I find that when I coach with women or when I partner with women, that sounds kind of crazy. So I'll say when I coach with women, it's more about focusing on how they want to feel. Yes, where they want to be, whether it's physically or whether it's career-wise or relationships, but it's a natural understanding that for us to get to where you want to be out here, we have to start within, right? We have to go with what you want to feel. And with men, it's reverse. It's they want to know how they can perform better. How can I get more abs, or not more abs, but how can I get abs? How can I get this job? How can I be a better salesman? How could I be better in how I provide and show up in my relationship. That's how they're different. So for women, I focus on a lot. It's easy to focus on the feeling first. For men, it's more about the performance, the external, which makes sense. But the way that they're the same is the vehicle in which we get there will be the same. Right. So for men, as much as you want to perform better, you're not going to perform better until we deal with these inner blocks, these inner challenges, the childhood traumas and triggers. We got to deal with that stuff if we really want to look at you showing up as your higher self in whatever area of wellness. Right. And for women, it's the same thing. We got to deal with the inner. We got to deal with the inner world and what's going on there to see what's blocking you from showing up as your higher self. So that's where I see them being the same and different.
Right. Because I was thinking about it and I was like, I got to get a guy on here because as women, like you said, as women, is how we feel. Our feelings are first. They're always first, no matter how you want to put it.
Yeah.
Feelings are first, and guys are more with their logic. Like,
absolutely.
I need step A, B, C. Like, let's go.
I can't just put in one of my men's regiment or their routine. Okay, and on once a month you're gonna do a spiritual ceremonial bath. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, yo, what's this bath stuff? What is all that? I can't just do that. Right? I have to first have them understand consciousness. So I also train in neurological coaching. So dealing with a lot of what's going on in the brain when we do things like journaling, when we do things like breathing. So that helps me provide a science for most men that's what they want to hear. How is this actually helping me through science? And then after I throw out the science, after I throw out the fact that, if you want to really get better in your thinking on the job and get sharper, you got to do these things.
Yeah.
But what I throw in there after I tell them the goal in them performing better is going to the why underneath the why. You know what I'm saying? So why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be fit? Man, I'm getting older and I just want to be fit. What about that is important? Well, like I got my daughter, and she's getting, she's young and I want to be able to just be around for her. And how's that going to be most beneficial for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, is there something that you are fearful of? Is there something that you're concerned about in regards to how you show up for your daughter physically? I mean, I ain't going to say fear, but maybe I feel now we're going deeper. And before you know it, we're on your emotions, bro. We're not even dealing with it's not even about the physical no more. Right. So I got to kind of do some Jedi mind tricks to get them there.
Yeah. What do they think about the spiritual path? Like,
man.
How do you get that in there?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'd say I got probably one brother right now that will openly say, yo, I went to Yannae for coaching. Like, I did this, I did that. I feel great. Like, he will speak about that from the mountaintop. Other dudes are like, feeling great, letting me know, but they're like, yo, bro, I'm not. I'll even tell them, yo, man, if you want to promote that, nah, man, I can't. I'm not gonna let. Nah, I'm good. We're talking about some dudes that are like really been on the block, but they do feel good after taking that bath. And they're like, yeah, man, I put the lavender in there and I put because they know, like, look, they know the stress they feel. They know the feelings they feel. They know that there are these things that they really can't open up and share. You know what I'm saying? And they know that I've been through that. They know that I deal with that at times. Like, we're not exempt just because, if anything, I'm more qualified for this work because I dealt with it and because I always overcome it or transform it. So they're not going to be able to lie to me and think this is all about performance. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to, because I know that the stress that I know you feel, I felt that as a Black man alone, as a man alone. So, I mean, and there's even the SNL sketch of when it's called Man Park. And it's basically dudes with no friends that have girlfriends. and their girlfriends are like, yo, we want you to get out more. So they bring their man to the park to play with other men. Like they do with kids or dogs. And but then there was a study that, after that sketch that was like, yo, this is actually a concern for a lot of men. They're lonely.
Right.
A lot of men are dealing with loneliness, that whether they're not with their child's mother, or sometimes they're even with everybody and they still feel alone. Right. So eventually they just know that it's nothing to front about. And they know that if I put a spiritual bath in there, because that's contributing to you being able to spiritually get grounded, being able to lower your cortisol levels and be in a more relaxed state before you go to sleep, because that's going to give you a better sleep, which gives you a better morning and you can perform better. Once I put all that in there, it's like, okay, yeah, let me do this spiritual bath, but don't tell nobody,
Don't tell nobody.
we gonna get past that, because that's an issue anyway, but we won't go there.
But I mean, I don't know. I love my bath, so
listen,
it's just a guy thing, I guess.
I mess with a bath all day. Matter of fact, one thing I have not done, I'm gonna do it, is because I've heard somebody speak about it before, but doing a bath in the morning.
Oh yeah?
I haven't done that. I always do them at night.
I don't know. I'll probably be ready to go sleep after that.
Like, you want me to go to work? Absolutely not.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So as far as the guys, when it comes to, like you said, performance, doing the spiritual bath, and basically kind of, Jedi mind tricks, after they're done with all that, how was their relationship with themselves? Like you said, they feel more alone. So how is their relationship with themselves?
There's an awareness that begins. There's a place that they go to where the conversation, I don't even have to really probe too much. Mm-hmm. There's so much flowing out of them. And they're like, yo, and then I'm seeing, like, there's this excitement. It's like a childlike excitement of connecting certain things, you know, and normally with every client I have, I'm always very intentional about making sure they're going to therapy. And if they haven't gone to therapy and they're not open to therapy, then I'll suggest therapists that I know who are men or women, depending on what they're comfortable with. But then also, like, maybe I could be a bridge to the therapy, but you have to go. You know what I'm saying? That's the bottom line. And I always let them know that, because we got to deal with some of those inner child traumas. I always take a trauma approach, informed trauma approach in regards to, like, my work, because that's where a lot of our patterns and habits and things stem from many times. Yeah. But for men, I know this. I know that there are some inner boy issues that we have not dealt with, and we have to be honest about that. So I always kind of create those conversations. If they're going to therapy, what I notice is, again, that childlike excitement of connecting certain things that they really didn't see from their childhood that played a role now, which makes it easier for me, because now they're that much more open to be like, okay, what do you got? Because now I'm about to take what I'm learning and I'm about to transform it so I can become better and go to this next level. And so they're more open to the practices and the methods that we might implement in their journey. So that's what I noticed with them, man. Like, an excitement of them learning things about themselves they just didn't grasp, before. Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome, especially if you're getting them to go to therapy, because the melanated community is like, no.
It's either no, but then it's also, we were talking about it earlier, like, do you know how to go to therapy? Right. Do you know how to find a therapist? You know, because it's great to say, I mean, it sounds crazy, but I feel like there's some dudes that might actually use them going to therapy as a way to, get close to a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just like when we were peace queen. Like now you done took the word queen and you're making it, weird, But anyway, I feel like, how do you choose your therapist? I think that's important for people to learn.
It is.
How do you go to therapy? So do you go and actually open up and be vulnerable? You know what I'm saying? And if you are, what are you doing with that information that you're getting? How are you processing it? I think a lot of that is important, because we can't just go to therapy, dump take stuff in, I mean, there's a total transformation that has to happen. This is why coaching and therapy have to come together, because the therapist can help you see everything that's in the cell. And then the coaching helps you come out the cell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like they work together so well. So, I mean, as much as we are opening up to the conversation, I think therapists as well should maybe start normalizing the conversation around, okay, now how do you go to therapy? How do you choose?
Yeah. And that was one of my questions to, I think, all the therapists that I had on, like, how do you know?
How do you know if it's time?
How do you know? No, how do you know who to pick? Like, you get this whole long list, and it's like, you don't really know what you need. And then sometimes you go to the doctor and you're telling the doctor, you know, I got this going on. And they're like, oh, you're depressed. Here's a pill.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I chose mine off of their connection. And I also choose the therapist that I'm going to offer clients. I only choose the ones that I know are very emotionally and spiritually connected to their work. It's not the degree. It's not about the book. Because sometimes they don't even refer to the Western psychological terms. A lot of them, like, they have that as their base, but they adopt Eastern, even Christian, you know, all different types of philosophies and spiritualities. But I chose my therapist off of how and I also wanted a female, and that stems from my mommy issues. Like, as a boy, that's where my issue was. It wasn't with my father. And so there was something about a woman being the nurturer that was good for me, you know. And there was something about when I met with a male therapist, it was like I still didn't feel comfortable enough to just come out. There was something in the back of my mind. And granted, this is me coming in already doing this work on myself. I wasn't yet certified at the time, but I did this work for years with myself, by myself. I worked with young people in social emotional learning development. So I had a little bit more of an intuitiveness coming in to choosing a therapist. But what I did know is that I wanted a woman. I wanted a Black woman. And I wanted whoever the therapist was, I needed to feel like she was passionate and like, well, I don't even need this clipboard. I could just talk with you. I'm present with you. When I felt that, I'm like, she's the one. And she is absolutely, I love her. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Because I fired mine.
You fired yours.
Another story. That's another story. We're talking about the men now.
I'm about to say, let's get into that.
It's another story. But I just really, I was just, you know, I just wanted to have a male perspective. I think there should be a male perspective and a female perspective on everything. And just, especially life coaching, because not that I just got certified, but, you know, like you, I've been doing it.
Yeah.
So but mostly when I talk to guys, it's like, I'm just like, y'all need to talk to a guy.
Wait. What you mean? What you mean? When you talk to guys, what?
Sometimes when I talk to guys, I'm just like, I'm thinking, how can I put this? I'm like,
careful.
Like, I'm a girl. No, so I'm like, what do you, like you said with the bath? Like, what do you mean you don't take a bath? Like, like you take showers all the time? Like, it's just like, and then you say certain things. I'm like, okay, maybe you could just soak your feet.
So have you coached a man before?
Like, kinda. Like, kinda. Because really, he was like, really wanted to talk about his relationship with his girlfriend and da-da-da. I was like, no, this is not about you. You're talking about her. Like, we got to talk about you.
Right, yeah.
And it was kind of like you said, he didn't really want to open up about himself, but he wanted to open up about the relationship. And I'm like, no.
It's so funny because that was when I first went to my therapist. It was absolutely about my ex. You know, my relationship, my last relationship was like, it's so fun. I mean, I've been homeless. I've been drug addicted. I've dealt with so much stuff. But man, nothing beat me down and taught me more than a really bad relationship, or a relationship that was like deep, intense, and then ends bad, because relationships are such a reflection of us. It's a creation of my own. So when I went to my therapist, that's all I wanted to talk about. She did,
Right.
and then she, nope. And she did it firmly and lovingly, pointing me to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
One time she role played and played her talking to me. Oh man, I was just like, oh
now I see
shit,
it.
yeah, like so I had to accept that there were patterns that that I adopted, you know what I'm saying, or that I had that were reflecting in her, and as much it was behavior that I knew that I ended up realizing I was modeling. Like I'm blaming her, but it's like actually you were doing that. Everything. There was nothing by the time I was done, there was nothing about her we needed to even talk about. You know what I'm saying?
It was about you.
And it's hard for men to take that. It's hard for men to look at that because it's like, nah, you hurt me. You did me wrong. Like, nah, we going to you because I gotta feel better. I need to feel better as a man. I need my ego to be intact, and it's not. And you're telling me that I gotta look at me. Now you're making me go into deeper things about me that I haven't been honest with yet, and it's difficult.
Yeah, and that's where I was at. I was like, "You're not ready." Like,
but that's an important point. Some people are not ready, and I think like coaches, therapists, or anybody who or even the person who's looking for. I mean, that's an honest thing, but I think coaches should know because sometimes you could get a little offended. You could be like, "Yo." Like we had a consultation and they just didn't hit me back, or they were doing this, then they just and or they kept acting resistant every single time, and it's like sometimes they're not ready,
right?
And
they think they are, but they're not, and it's okay.
It's okay
when you're ready. I'll be around.
Yeah.
Other than that,
right? Either they're not ready, you might not be the right fit. It's not as coaches. We have to really take ourselves out of it, right? We got to know what their map is. I need to get on your map. If that's why I could work with women, because, and then I could work with men who are completely different from me, because as much as I could find myself in them, and that helps. Can you hear my daughter? Do you hear that? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine.
As much as I can work with women and men or who are different from me, I have to know, I have to think about the fact that I want to relate to some things in regards to the feelings, but how I'm navigating it has nothing, that I got to go with them. I need to get on their map and see how they're navigating in their human experience on their map and keep myself out of it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And when I do that, no, there is no offense, because I'm on your map, and I realize going on your map and talking that you're in a place where you're going to be very resistant right now. So there's no offense for me to be for me to take because you're not ready,
Right. And that's okay.
That is okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Or I might not work for you. I might be some people want a very deep spiritual coach that is only about spirituality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do have spirituality weaved in there, of course, but I'm also much about science. I'm also much about action plans and steps and regiments and creating that stuff, that breaking habits, transforming habits. That's not always sexy to people.
No. No, not at all. But you gotta start somewhere. And once you really look at yourself, you gotta see that it's mind, body, and soul. It's not just because I was doing it myself. I was like, I'm just gonna help people eat and blah 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 blah. But after, especially talking to different people and being in different programs, like it's not just eating, it's your mindset. Yes. You gotta get, because you could say you want to eat right all you want, but if you go to the store and still buy Oreos instead of a salad, like it's your mindset. We gotta start with mindset. Every coach that I ever met, that's like up there. They're like, if your coach doesn't have a coach, you probably shouldn't be with that coach.
Straight up. Say that for the people in the back.
If your coach does not have a coach, you shouldn't be with that coach. And if your coach in the program that you're in, if it does not start with mindset, you probably shouldn't be in that program. So it's all with mindset. And that's the thing with me. Like I think with guys, when they're gonna do something, they're just gonna do it. They have their mind is set. As a woman, we're kind of like, let me see if I wanna let me
feel it out.
Feel into it. Yeah. But now I'm to the point where I'm just like, we got to work on mindset first, like, before we work on anything else.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, mindset and because like, and when we go to mindset, now we're going to the mind, so we're going to the deeper things that are going on in the mind. Now we have to go to the place of vulnerability. You know what I mean? And this won't work unless you're vulnerable. You know, if you know that you have a problem with pornography, right? I can help you control and break the habit of watching pornography and the addiction you have to climaxing, because that's essentially what we get addicted to if we're addicted to pornography. We are addicted to the ejaculation, and we're addicted to the way the chemicals are being released in our brain as we're viewing over and over and over different movie or whatever film. And so I can do that all day. But if you're not getting vulnerable with me about your relationship to intimacy, if you're not getting vulnerable with me about your, you know, the way you've shown up in relationships in the past, we're not going to really get to the root of what's causing your porn addiction. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we have to get to the why underneath the why. There's no way about it. It's a dark place. It's an uncomfortable place. But if we're going to build a foundation of greatness, a foundation of this new transformation, then we have to go deep into the ground, you know, and build a good foundation. So, you know, that's where, if most people won't go there with me and you just want a physical workout routine, to just eat right and have your body, we're not, I tell them, like, I won't take them on. Unless you're willing to take on total wellness, I won't take them on. I'm not doing just a physical regimen, because now I'm out of integrity for myself. You know?
How do people take that sometime when you tell them that?
They're cool. I never got anybody that was like upset. You know, some of them would consider like, okay, well, let me see what you're talking about. And then they're like, nah, I'm good. You know, because they're like, I just want to be right for the summer. And it's like, it's not just that though. It's so much deeper, and that's cool. If people say, no, that's really it. Yeah. No, it's not. I'll tell you it's not. I can confidently say, I don't know what it is, but we can go deeper if you want to talk.
Nope, not today.
Exactly.
Not today.
Exactly.
Not today. But that's the thing. Like, you got to be real with yourself. Yeah. And that's being in coaching. If you're not real with yourself, you can't coach nobody.
Not at all.
You can't coach nobody. So you got to be real with yourself. And
I think that's the
only way. That's the only way you
that's
can
it.
Pass all these traumas, all this drama. Like, you got to be real with yourself. And people can't do that.
I think that's the most annoying thing that I've heard sometimes, from time to time. Friends, like close friends. And, you know, some of them are also very well aware, and they're kind of, whether they're therapists, but therapists never said this, but a couple of my friends who are kind of in the field have said this, and they'll say, you know, you're supposed to be a transformationalist. You're supposed to be a coach. And I'm like, yes. So what do you think that means now that I'm a coach? I'm all done? You know what I'm saying? Like, all done. Right. I grew. No more evolution. No more hurt. No more pain. No more confusion. No more, like, no. That's my human experience. That's what I've passionately taken on as my life lesson. So, of course, I'm always studying. You know, always unlearning.
Right. Because you think you're 40-something years old, like you learned all this stuff. Like, it's not just overnight. I'm done. I don't know this stuff anymore. I'm not going to do these things anymore. I'm not going to have this habit.
That sounds miserable to me, to be honest with you. Like, I'd much rather, life is more exciting when you're moving with divine awareness, when you're moving in really knowing yourself. And then because you know yourself so well, you see yourself in others. That's how everybody is our reflections, you know? And when we know that, it's like there's a different engagement. with a person, you know. Relationships are more exciting. I mean, I can't wait for my next relationship. I got so much I'm gonna bring to that table to build that foundation, but that's all through this work that I consistently do, you know, on myself.
Right. And that's a lot of nobody. That's another subject. We have to have you
Yeah,
on
I'm about
another
to say,
time.
man, we got a lot of places to go to.
Right. But I was like, I'm gonna stick with the guys right now because the guys like, I don't understand the whole, like, they played sports, so you had a coach when you played sports. So what's the difference between having a life coach
and having a football coach or a basketball coach? And the thing is, and that's the only reason why I don't fully like the word coach, is because when you think of coach, it's like giving you some plays to go run. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like,
okay.
we're not, for me, I'm not just doing that. I'm not just giving you the plays.
Yeah.
I'm partnering with you on your journey right now to do what's necessary and provide you with the methods, the strategies, hold you accountable, because that's at the root of transformation. So you can really evolve, so you can really transform. I'm partnering with you. I didn't go nowhere. When I give you a play, you still got me on your head. You could, or whatever, your pocket, wherever you keep your phone, you could call me. You know what I'm saying? You still, because that's what was done for me. You know, my mentor, my coach, everything I do was rooted in what I experienced with him and what I still, to this day, I met him when I was about 22, 23. Heavy on drugs, didn't know what I was really going to do. Just with anything. I was going to community college. I was working at Applebee's. I've been homeless since 14, so I was couch surfing for years. So up until that time, I think I was couch surfing. So when I met my coach, I was like living in somebody's house. I was on a couch. It was in horrible conditions, you know. And I met him. He ended up paying for a week for me to stay at this, you know, dingy motel, you know, but at least it was better than where I was at. And that's where I got clean. He would drop off soup. He would, you know, once I got clean and we started working, man, it was like long walks and talks. It was studies. It was a regimen physically, learning about how I need to go grocery shopping and learning how I need to eat. I started learning meditation and Qigong. Like I was working 16 hours a week and the rest of my time was with him for about almost a year. And it was, by the time I came back, I was never the same. And I've been doing this since. I've been adding more things, developing, adopting. Everybody has known me since that. And the dudes I grew up with, they saw me transform. They were like, my body, everything. I was doing recording. I was hip hop, you know, I was rapping. So I'd rap about drugs and all that. I come back, I did a song about meditation. I was rapping and there was a whole background noise and it was a whole meditative hip hop track. To me, it was the first of its kind. But that was like 2000. Man, that was 2000. I want to say 2003, maybe 2002, something like that. Yeah. But man, I mean, I forgot how we got. Oh, my coach. Yeah. So like what I do with people, it's the same aspect. Like we're on a journey now. Him and I was on a journey with him once. We parted for about just a few years because I had, that's another thing about what I learned from him as a coach is that wherever people need to go on their journey, they can go. I mean, I just disappeared because I used to do that. I used to be able to just take off. I just disappeared. He didn't push it. He didn't stress it. He didn't like, yo, where you at? Nothing. It was just like, all right, cool. Look, he got to learn. He has to learn what he has to learn. Came back. We had a second journey together. He had to go away. And then now we're on our third journey together. So, you know, so we're over 20 years that we've known each other. And everything that I do, my approach, my passion, my attentiveness, it really stems from my work with him, you know, and learning from him.
Okay. So how long is your program?
So I have I have an 8-week and a 10-week. But then we also have 1 week of like a breakthrough intensive. So but that's like very, you know, as I evolve monetarily, like as I get more money and more ways to put into the business, I really want to do way more innovative things in regards to like creating excursions and experiences that really bring the coaching home. You know what I'm saying? Really bring the messages home. But the breakthrough intensive program, that's a week, and that's usually very intense. Like it might be, especially if people, I had a client that was on opioids, you know, and so he was trying to get off of those, and, you know, we got a hotel. Well, we first did some cleansing and decluttering and complete reprogramming when he was home. We got his wife involved, so she knew what his program was going to be. Then we went to the hotel, took away the keys. He had it was far away. He had nowhere to go. And then all the methods that he was learning and the things that was in his regimen, he had to keep with those as he was in the hotel. You know what I'm saying? And it was painful. Don't get me wrong. Like that, getting off of those drugs is physically painful, but it's not going to kill you. And that's what he had to get through on the other side. So I'd come by, but it was intense. It was very intense. 7 days. And as far as I know, he's been clean. There's no relapse, you know, but he's, you know, he's been, but after that, it was a complete 180, you know what I'm saying? But that was the willingness that he had, you know what I'm saying, to really do that. But so we have a 7-day intensive, and then we have a 10-week and an 8-week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell everybody where they can find you.
So you can find me. You can email. You could go to www.ytktransformation.com. You could also email me at kempenterprisellc@gmail. You could also call me if you want to, 203-397-6022. You're more than welcome to call me and just set up a consultation. It's free, and we'll see where you at. Sometimes people get the consultation and they get what they need to get, you know, and they might want another session, and that's like $75. So there's a lot of different ways we could adjust for what works for them.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Talking about the now perspective of coaching.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you creating this space for coaches to talk about what they do.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it got to be talked about. So I guess, you know, I got to do it.
Let's make sure we do this again. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys next time.